All right, so I've recorded a quick demo basically to show you how you're supposed to go about doing this assignment. So I was ambushed in the mall today, so I had a question from a student about what exactly I wanted for the assignment. So I'm showing you basically how you'd go about doing this. So I've created a couple new pages in the Pages palette. So I've created one called Cover Page and one called Table of Contents. And then on my cover page, I can put an image. In this case, I've created a text box. What you put here is up to you. It's supposed to be creative, and how you choose to present it is totally up to you. But I would like to see something creative and unique, and that represents yourself. So have some fun with this. Remember, the point of the project is for you to show the process of using digital tools to create analog drawings quicker. So you could think of it as a sales pitch, you could think of it as a portfolio page. It really is up to you. So you should also have your name on here, the course, and the date would be good. So just create text boxes for each of those. And then on the table of contents, you'll have a title, which will probably say table of contents or index. And then you number the pages that you're going to have. So you're supposed to have 6 pages in total. And I've asked you for first page to be about using SketchUp to create a perspective drawing, which we did in the first class. The second one is using SketchUp to create an AXO drawing, which we did in the second class. And the third one would be using Match Photo to create a perspective drawing, which we did 2 of as exercises. And then the fourth one would be creating a simple diorama, which you did as well. So this is taking your drawings that you created as in-class exercises and that we've submitted as assignments in some cases, and going ahead and just laying those out in a layout file. You're going to have a very similar exercise to produce your illustration booklet for your design studio project that you do with Sarah. So you're going to have a number of pages that she's asked you to produce, lookbook, bubble diagrams, illustrated master plan, perspectives and sections. So those would all be on separate pages, just like we're doing here. So this is basically the standard procedure you'd go through for creating any booklet. So just go through and add each of your pages in. I'm not going to type out all the text, but you'll get the idea if you see me do the first 1 or 2. And then what I'm going to do is, rather than just create new pages, because I got a format already laid out from the first page that I created in the initial demo, which has some windows, some imported images. If I wanted to, I could actually just reuse that format. So in the Pages palette, the middle icon on the top left allows you to duplicate a page, which you'll see here in a second, and that's the easiest way to proceed. So if you want, just to get the project done without putting a ton of creativity into it, you could just make one page layout and duplicate it and populate each of the windows, or adjust the windows so that they told the story that you were trying to say in each case. Probably won't land you with an A or an A+ grade, because I'd like to see something creative. Part of the purpose of this project is for you to communicate process. There should be a sense of narrative to this, so you can think of a comic book or a graphic novel or something that way, where you're telling a story through a progression of cells. And there should be some logic to how you read the page. So you typically read from left to right, top to bottom. So there should be some logic to how you lay out a page or a panel or anything that you present. You shouldn't be asking your client to navigate something that's totally new in terms of a system of navigating. So you can see here I've duplicated my page 3 times, and I'm now just double clicking on the titles to give them a different name. So I've got perspective, AXO, match photo, and then the last one's going to be diorama. If I just click and drag, I can reorder the pages. So I'm going to put these in the correct order now. That will matter, because when you print your PDF, it should be in order. And then I'm just going to go through and edit what's on each page. So the second page is a duplicate of the first one. I'm going to change this one to how to create an axonometric drawing. So just change the title. And then I could go in and change the content. I was using the same image, but you probably used a different one for your exercise. So go ahead and put your plan view image in. You would have had a base drawing that you created in SketchUp, so you can bring that in, or you can adjust your model so that it's giving you that view. You'll also notice that I can switch right to an ortho view right inside layout, so it doesn't have to be set up that way in SketchUp. So you'll see I'll go up to the SketchUp tab here, and there's an option for ortho. Ortho is the same as axonometric for our purposes. So that takes away the perspective in the camera, and I could then compose this and show an axo view. And then you should have your process drawings. Maybe you don't have a photo of yourself doing it, probably not. Not a big deal. The point is that I want you to show the process of how you work through this. So, I start off with a plan, I make a SketchUp file, I set it up as an axo, I blackline it, and I render it. That way, if your boss wanted to know some of your skills, you could say, look, I can produce a drawing really fast, here's how I do it. And you can walk them through the process. Another thing you'd be demonstrating by doing this in an interview is the ability to communicate, which is important. It's not just as simple as plunking a genius design down in front of the client. You have to be able to communicate what you're doing. So I go ahead and of course you'd be putting your axo images here. So I'm not actually putting images on, I'm just putting the text in to say your axo would go here. Your axo line drawing and your axo final rendered plan. And then on this page, this is our match photo one. So I would change the title to reflect that this one was talking about match photo. And then I would go through and I would swap out all the images, and I'm not going to do that in this little video just for the sake of time, but we could go through and do that and populate all of this. So it's not tremendously creative. I'm using the same layout over and over again, so my preference would be that you were a little bit more creative than that, but if you use the same one over and over again, it would probably land you a B, maybe a B plus if it was real good. And then I do the diorama one. And then this one I would go ahead and swap these out. Now technically you didn't do an analog illustration for this, so if you just wanted to say how to use SketchUp to create a quick diorama style image, that would be fine as well. And you don't have to use my text. I would love it if you described it in your own words. So one of the essential skills we try to develop in this program is the ability to present, both presenting, standing up and presenting to an audience, and also presenting visually to a client. So you may be leaving them with this booklet. They should be able to go through this and understand, what's this designer talking about with this work that they've proposed. Or maybe they want to show it to their family member or something like that, and you're not there to explain it. So you should be able to create something that is legible and clearly understandable, just in visual form. So I would go through here, find my images. So, we started off with a photo of New Orleans for this one. You were creating your own, so this would be a photo that you took yourself. Hopefully you took advantage of going out and using your studio site that you're doing with Sarah to do this. That would probably make it a little bit easier, or a little bit more effective time-wise. You're not just doing something for the sake of an exercise. I hate asking for that, and I'd rather you did something that was applicable. So bring the photo in, I would erase the other stuff, position this. Maybe I would show a couple process photos. I could use my SketchUp file and show some process perhaps. Maybe I show an image of one of my 2D components, or one of the things that we download from immediateentourage.com or something of that sort. Just tell the story of what you're trying to communicate. So to tell the story of how you work through a diorama. And 2 images wouldn't cut it for you guys, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what we're trying to do here, right? So we're swapping out the existing layout that we had from the first panel that we did, or first page that we did, and replacing it with the stuff that's specific to the type of drawing that we're doing in this case. And and maybe I want to crop that image. So I've drawn a text box here, and I'm going to create a clipping mask, which we did in the other video. But we get rid of the fill by going under the shape style and taking off the fill. We select both the image and the outline of the rectangle we drew. We right click and we create a clipping mask. And that would allow you to clip off anything you didn't want. And then you get rid of anything else that you didn't need, and just put in the appropriate images that walk us through this process. So simple but creative is what you're after here. It doesn't have to be hugely elaborate. You know, A+ work is generally stuff that's out of the box and surprisingly creative, so I hope to see some of that. But if you just want to produce something that's solid and workable and, you know, B+ range, then just use the same template over and over again and change out the images and adjust the text on each one. So this shouldn't be something that you're spending hours and hours and hours on. That's not the intent either. So then you would save your file as a layout file. You have to give it an appropriate name. And then once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and export a PDF. And I'm just going to show you what I've got as I do that. So I've got a cover page with my name, the course and the date, appropriate title. I've got a table of contents with all my pages in there. I've got my first page, which is perspective. A second page, which is an axonometric, and you will have replaced these images, so they won't be the same as on the other one. And you'll have to bear with me here. I'm writing with a wounded hand, so I'm saying add your images. And then we move on to the, oh, I'm going to keep scrolling away here. So don't expect elaborate emails or long comments on your work when I grade it. My ability to write is pretty limited. Then we move on to the match photo one. So again, you're getting rid of the images that are in your other layout from your duplicated page, and you put in your own. So we're doing the same thing over and over again, swapping out the images. So add your images. And then on the last page, you've put in the stuff appropriate to that page. So hopefully this helps you to understand better what I was specifically asking for in this assignment. If you follow the videos and do as I've done, you should end up with a good grade. And this is a very useful skill. Clients love to have a booklet with the work that you've proposed for them after. Or a PDF that they can send to family and friends to get their opinion on it. Some people like to do things by committee. So now we export our PDF. You want to make sure you export all the pages. The more pages you have, the longer it takes for the export, so it may take a bit, so be patient. You want to make sure your quality is set to high. Medium's probably okay for this assignment, but in general you want to use high if you're going to print it. You don't have to print this one. This is just an online submission. And then you'll be able to view your PDF in your PDF viewer. So I hope that helps. I survived my surgery. I'm recovering well, and I hope that helps you with your assignment. Good luck.